Hey guys, Ryan Hodge here with BlackHoleHotspots.com. You know me as GI Operation on Twitter, and today we're kicking with episode 40. 40. I can't believe just like a few months ago we were at like episode 1 of Support Black Business TV. That's hashtag SBBTV. And today our special guest is Angela T. Jones, aka the best Superwoman, and that's her Twitter page. But also she got another Twitter page too, but we're gonna let her get into that because she is truly, I'm like, you do a lot of stuff. But anyway, we're gonna how you doing today, Angela?
I'm great. How are you, Ryan?
Unbelievable. I look at things and I'm looking at all these different things you do, and I'm like, wow, does she sleep? I mean, I thought I was busy. So, and I'm like, wow. So, what all do you do?
Okay. Beginning, I am a author. I'm published. I am also a movie producer. I'm credited. I am a blogger for Six Brown Chick. I am managing editor of Detroit CEO Magazine. I am CEO of Superwoman Productions and Publishing. And in my spare time, I say kids. So I do a lot of things, including, motivational speaking for youth and adults, as well as events for my company, Superwoman Brand. We have several events throughout the year, and they are for, mom, mother, some women-centric events.
So, okay, so trying to think of all the many different things. So which one came first? Did you publish the book first? Did you join Six? Did you get with Six Brown Chicks first? Did you do movies first? Which one?
What came first? Being an author.
Okay.
I started my because I actually wanted to publish my own book after having conversations with publishing companies and realizing that what I wanted to do was not necessarily what they wanted me to do at the time. And I figured that if anybody would want to benefit or capitalize off of me and my intellectual property, it should be myself. So I started this company with that in mind, that, it's my idea, it's my creativity. I should be the one to capitalize off it more than anyone else.
Exactly. So, okay, so you're part of my friends. I always call I used to tell the Six Brown Chicks that it was Six Brown Chicks and one brown dude.
Right.
Matter of fact, there's a group on Black Hole Hotspots that says 6+1. And because when they had the television show, I would take the embedded links and I would post them into posts, and I'd be like, hey, I'm a brown chick too, okay? No, I'm not really, no. But y'all get the point. But no, those are my homies. Most of them. I'm not really as close with like Gina or Young Girl, I think. But Zandra and Dodge are my homies. So that's what's up. Now, so what is your book about? What is it about? Is it about your life story? Is it about trying to self-help? What is it about? What's the name of it?
Well, actually, I just published my second book. My first book came out in 2010, and it's called The Goodie Bag. It was an erotic short story collection. And that did very well in paperback. At that time, Amazon and some of the online ebook distributors weren't as large as they are now, so that was primarily available in paperback.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last year I published my second book, and this one is called Breaking Through with Black Selling. That particular book is a business book geared toward African American business owners, but I have information in there that can be used for others as well. And I wrote that book in an effort to help encourage African American business owners to think about how we diversify as well as how we treat our communities when it comes to products and services that we provide, and customer service that is expected of us. So that one is also a passion project of mine because friend of mine who was a businessman here in Detroit, as well as my stylist for the biggest parts of my career, and he helped to cultivate who I am today. He passed away from lymphoma. So proceeds from that particular book go towards Carmelo Cancer Institute, which was a passion project of his prior to his death. So I have a community partnership with Carmelo for that particular book, Breaking Through Black Selling. And that one is larger than the Big Deck because now ebook publishing is so viable. And I literally have publishers' accounts as my company on all the major ebook distributors. So that allows me to reach people all over the world. And my book is available in 9 different languages all over the world.
Word? You speak 9 languages, or you just had it translated in 9 languages?
I speak 9 different languages, and that was actually something I just decided to do as a business person.
Smart.
Because I say, cooperate in the global economy, and I don't do that myself.
Exactly, and that's, you know what, and I like that because I'm not saying, well, I will say this. You're the first author outside of, like, Think and Grow Rich and all these other, these New York best-selling authors that I've even heard say that. So you're the first black author that I have talked to personally that has done something like that. And I think that that's huge because I was just talking to a person before you. The interview was with a travel agent. Last week I was talking to a person who does they teach Spanish. They so in their niche is English as a second language or Spanish, and she goes out and she teaches kids English and vice versa. She can do Spanish, and she talked about all these different languages. And I said, I'm thinking travel is like, we're all spread around this country. So if somebody, if you got a dark-skinned person like us that speaks Spanish, they can't read your book.
Right.
So that's smart. It is in Spanish, though, right?
It's in Spanish, it's in Dutch, it's in French, it's in languages I didn't even know I could publish a book in, to be quite honest with you. And my first book was in 5 languages.
Okay.
It was published in 5 different languages because back then that was an opportunity for me to do that as a publisher. And now Breaking Through Black Selling is in 4 additional languages on top of that. So I'm very proud about that. Because, like you said, people of color are all over the world. And if you have a book and people are interested in reading it, but it's not their first language, you won't be able to sell the book to them, and having it translated after the fact can get rather costly.
Right. I take that back. You're the second person. The first one was one of my guys, Raheem, and I just happened to read a blog post that he wrote last week. I don't know if you know Raheem Brooks. He's out of Philly, but he's out of commission for a while. But he was talking about that in a blog post, how he looked at certain things and he was like, wait a minute, this is a global economy. Why aren't I selling books in Africa? Why aren't I selling books in the UK? We got these people, we trying to do hand-to-hand combat in New York City or Jersey or Philly or Chicago or Detroit. Hey, read my book, here's $10, $15, it's $20, whatever. And it's like, do you realize that? And he said something you just said too. It's the same exact thing. When you're dealing with Amazon, which is a global company, they're going to introduce you to markets that you would never ever even know existed. And that's huge, because that's how I thought with Black Folk Hotspots from the very beginning. That's why it wasn't Chicago hotspots or Detroit hotspots. I was like, well, this is a whole big world, and it's like there's a lot of black business owners, and my biggest thing was I get so, and maybe you experienced it, maybe you haven't, but I'm sure that we all experienced it some way. The people who know you the best, the people who are more local to you, that know you, they know your little nicknames and this, that, and the other, are the ones that sometimes will shit on you. And it's like, and it depresses and it knocks certain business owners out. I'm not getting enough respect. I'm not doing this. I'm not getting this. Nobody wants to buy my product. And I always tell them, you do know that the world is bigger than Detroit. There's people. There's people in Atlanta that don't know you. They don't know, that you used to like to fight in 3rd grade. You know what I mean? For whatever reason. Because, I tell people, I'm like, some of these people, And that's our biggest issue. But anyway, so the book thing is that's really interesting. So that's good. And I think more people need to know that. You won't have competition now, by the way. So now people will be like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. But make sure they pay you.
That's why I offer book publishing as a service as well. I've gotten to the point where my company is still considered a small business, but I can publish on not just Amazon. I can publish on Kobo, Google Books, iBook. So my book is in all of those ebook distributors as well as the paperback. So I can do that for other people.
That's good, and we need more publishers, things like that, because I think that people, yeah, I need to publish a book too. So can you ghostwrite too? You got ghostwriters? Can I just tell my story and somebody writes it?
I don't currently have ghostwriters only because they can get very pricey. I literally can publish a book for maybe a third of what a ghostwriter would charge you to ghostwrite your book here. But I do offer coaching to help a person get through the writing process. Because it's really not as difficult as you may think, because it's your idea. And people, particularly if you already have a following, people want to hear your voice and your viewpoint because they're familiar with you. So it's not always in the best interest of an author to use a ghostwriter once they have already built up a following. I think ghostwriters are more so for celebrities or people just coming out of the gate who don't really have a following and they're trying to build one. But your voice is very much a part of your brand. And people who are familiar with that will know that that's not you.
Right. So I'm gonna be like Drake. Forget it. I'm gonna be like Drake. Hey, if somebody else write his lyrics. Hey, what happened? He'll be mad at me. Like, you didn't write that book. No, yeah, But no, so besides how was the experience been with Six Brown Chicks? I mean, because you're in Detroit, how did you hook up with Zandra and Dodge now?
Okay, so they were bringing the Black Culture Network to Wayne State University, and they put up for auditions for people to be a part of the cast. And I have followed Zandra Hughes for a long, long time. Like, I remember when she was at Ebony. I remember when she was at Real Time. I'm not Real Time Gigs, but was at Roll Out. And I have always admired her as a woman in media. I look up to, like Oprah, Zandra. You've been
stalking Zandra? I'm gonna tell her. I'm like, you got a stalker.
She knows. She already knows. So I had the opportunity to audition, and I put in my information. I tell you how I audition. They were looking for a narrator. I was so nervous. I felt like I did a horrible job, but part of me was like, oh my God, I get to be Zandra Hughes. So I was really, excited about it. The play was amazing. I had a good time. And after that, they were looking for more correspondent bloggers. And I submitted some work, and she reviewed it. She liked the way I write, and brought me on board as a correspondent blogger for the city of Detroit. And I'm the only correspondent blogger for Detroit now for this project. So that is amazing. And having the ability to have someone like Zandra Hughes as someone in my life, and I've admired her for a number of years. And being able to, talk to her and, go places and be involved in things, as well as, we were both at Epitaph. It's like amazing to be able to sit down with someone you admire so much and have lunch. I mean, it's like that's a dream come true for me. So I absolutely love her. She's an amazing woman. And so much of her career in media are things that I would like to have opportunities for myself.
Exactly. I agree. I mean, yeah, Zandra's one of my favorites. It's when she's in a room, you can tell. I mean, it just, I don't know if there's a certain word for that, but you know when Zandra's in a room. I mean, period. Not that she's probably gonna have on red or yellow, and her hair lights in the room, but no, she has something. Honestly, I don't even think. Honestly, sometimes I don't know if she really even knows that. Because a lot of people don't realize that when they just don't. I mean, because I couldn't tell in her interactions and this, that, and the other, but so let me see here. So what else do you do? I mean, yeah, it's like, okay, so the movie thing, let's talk about that. So, I mean, how did you get into that? I mean, who are you? Are you like Spike Lee's daughter or something? Or I mean, what's going on here?
I am one of the producers for a documentary short film called Women to Detroit. And it was about positive people doing positive things in the city of Detroit during the time when people were writing about Detroit as like this horrible place to be and live and work. And it wasn't that extreme. So the filmmaker needed people to come on board and support him, not just financially, but locally, making sure that he said, I really want to get this done because I can see the positive things taking place in the city of Detroit, and I think more people need to see that. And that was during a time where we were having our difficulties financially and going through emergency manager. And it was bad, but every major city at some point or another has had those type of issues. It comes about from, politics and financial mismanagement and sometimes corruption, but those cities often rebound and come back very, very well. And he wanted to showcase that in spite of any difficulties Detroit was having in the national news, there was a lot of positivity going on here that was not being covered. So he put together a short film. It was really awesome. It was really, really awesome. And I had the opportunity to become a producer of that film. And that also, I became credited. I'm on IMDb. So if you look up Angela T. Jones, I have an IMDb profile. And it says that, I'm a movie producer for Lemonade Detroit and that I was a cast member for the Black Social Network by Six Brown Chicks. So it afforded me the opportunity to also go back to school and study digital cinematography at Fort Hill University and learn more because I wanted to learn the back end of film. I wanted to know, myself know the business side of it because I'm a huge movie lover, have been my entire life, and I know that is something I can do. And so, doing my own videos and my own commercials for Superwoman Productions and Publishing, I've been able to do those things because I went back and got educated, and I have the movie producer credits to my name. And as I move forward, looking at opportunities in film and television, those things are really going to help me out. So for me, it was also about growing my credibility and getting the credentials that I need as a business owner because I wasn't the girl who wanted to become an actress to get into film. And I had offers and I turned them down because I have a horrible time remembering lines.
Right.
More of an off the top of my head type of person. So remembering lines, is a little more difficult for me, but if I had to improv, I would be okay. So, I don't take too many opportunities when people ask me to be involved in anything. I would do it for Sandra. I don't think I would do it for anyone else at this time unless they would pay me very, very well. But I wanted to do that because I wanted to have the experience. I wanted to know firsthand what it's like so that I could also teach others, because filmmaking is a huge, huge endeavor for some people. They strive for it, they dream about it for their entire lives. They don't know what to do or how to do it. And they feel like it's this very, very long and arduous process, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. You can do it in a way, being creative, and still get things done that you need to have done. So that's how that came about, and I'll be doing more things as far as digital media going forward. I'm looking at opportunities to be involved in television. Behind the scenes and in front of the camera. I have a preference for behind the scenes, but I don't necessarily have that luxury right now.
So now are you thinking that you're going to move towards the direction of the film side of things? I mean, because that's something that you kind of like really quickly developed a passion for.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to see how things go and how things progress with my company. One thing has been evident that the evolution of the Superwoman brand has been very organic. The experiences, the people, everything comes into place on its own. I can do the work and take the following steps and let things kind of evolve naturally. And that's something that I've been blessed to have with my businesses. One idea is always connected to another, and then another and another will constantly feed into each other. The whole concept and idea to eventually grow and become something much larger. Right now, I'm looking not so much at film and television, but how I can incorporate those things into what I do in other areas, like for my events. So, getting ready to have kind of a speaking event in December of this year, and I'm already the opportunity to be involved in that. And at the same time, I'm going to do online commercials. I have a YouTube channel, And we do our own commercials at Superwoman Productions and Publishing, and we do our commercials for my radio show, which is internet-based on Blog Talk Radio, the satellite radio show. And that allows me the opportunity to kind of test out and try my hand at digital media and creating it. You know, and I've interviewed people, and I've done live interviews, and things of that nature. So that allows me to have that side of the business active on YouTube with the Superwoman Productions and Publishing YouTube channel. So as I look at each project, I see, like, can I add a digital media component? Is there a way that we can add something where we're doing maybe a short film or something to complement that particular project? So that's what I'm using that right now, just to build up my experience and my abilities a little bit more. But we'll see what happens. I'm open to things, and I depending on what it is and who it is, you know, I look at it and see how it will benefit the brand overall.
Now, are you born and raised in Detroit, or were you born somewhere else and moved to Detroit?
I was born and raised in Detroit.
Okay. Because I know that a lot of people, you know, well, I ain't gonna say a lot of people now are probably moving to Detroit for jobs and whatnot, but I know that maybe your parents or grandparents, I know that that's how I got into the North, to the Midwest, and I'm from here in Indiana, you know, so we came, my great-grandmother came for the steel mills, where you had the auto industry and things like that. So do you think that, because I'm going to call you like hustle woman, superwoman, but do you think that, I mean, because you got like all the little hustles going on, and that's what I think is great. Now, is that something, as a child, you always thought about being a business owner, or did this something that come along, like you got fed up with corporate America? You're like, you know what, this is for the birds. I'm sick of this, because I don't know. So how did that come about? I mean, how did you get here?
You know what? I attribute everything that I'm able to do to the fact that at a young age, I was raised by my grandparents. And from a very young age, they cultivated my talent. And they allowed me to have experiences and travel. So I got to meet different people. I got to go different places. And I was allowed to have different experiences. And I didn't necessarily play sports, but I was a cheerleader. I took classical ballet dance classes. I took jazz classes. I choreographed dance choreography when I was in middle school. I loved to read. I was an avid writer and reader at a young age. My grandparents and my teachers helped to nurture that in me. And I never in my life imagined that I would start my own business and do what I'm doing. I always had a bit of an entrepreneurial experience, but I didn't know what I wanted to be or do specifically. So a lot of what I'm doing now is literally the last, I would say, 35 years of my life. And all the experiences, all of my talents, all of the people around me who nurtured me, and it all came together into this thing that is called the Superwoman brand. That's the best way I can describe it. I started this career later. I was a single mother at 18 years old. So I dropped out of college after my first year, started working full-time in corporate America. I don't have a bachelor's degree in business, but I have a PhD in business experience.
Right.
Since 2008, and prior to that, I owned another business. I've been a realtor. So I've got different experiences that have all come together to allow me to do the things that I do, negotiate the deals that I negotiate, deal with the people that I have to deal with. And it's just all of those experiences, they're very, very valuable, because when I decided that I wanted to step on out and start a business and see what happened and publish my book, my son was like going into high school, you know, and it was one of those things where I wasn't quite sure if it was going to work. I wasn't, you know, what do I do? How do I do this? And then it just kind of started to flow, and it was flow because of the experiences and education that I did have. And I was going back to school taking classes, even though I got a little bored, getting straight A's in business classes because you run your own business already. It gets a little boring, so I needed a challenge, so I switched to film, you know. So it was one of those things where everything just has come together. I've been tremendously blessed because of that. And I encourage parents in particular, if you see that your children have talent, don't try to get them to do something different from what their talents are. Nurture and encourage those talents, but you don't know how that might actually benefit them later on. So, dads, if you want your son to play basketball or football because you did, be mindful that maybe his talent is running track or playing golf, and allow that talent to be nurtured, because he could be, a pro golf player. They make good money,
Right. Exactly.
Be, an athlete still, but not necessarily a basketball or football player. So I know how that impacted me, and that's why when I'm speaking to parents and talking about, they're asking me, well, how did you get through this? It started as a kid. It started as me being this big, and somebody saying, oh, she can dance. Look at her dance class. Oh, she likes to play piano. As opposed to saying, no, you should do this because this is what I want you to do. They nurtured what they thought I could naturally gravitate towards. And I did the same thing with my son. I could have said, I want you to own your own business and I want you to be like me. But he's better at things that are related to architecture. So I encouraged that in him. And that's what he studied. And he took machine training classes and things that were related to that, and CAD and all those things that I don't know anything about. So just to nurture that so that he can live in his purpose as opposed to living in mine.
Exactly. You know what? And that's funny, because not funny, but that's pretty much how we've done our daughter. And she's done so many different things, and she was like, Poppy, I want to do this. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. But it's come from her. I wanted her to play sports, but she told me she wasn't playing. Although she was, when I coach baseball, I'm a baseball guy, so I was always like, hey, from the day she was born, I was working on trying to get her to play baseball. And, in softball, she was better than when I coached the 7, 8-year-old, and I coached that team specifically. I picked that age group because at the time she was the same age group I'd have been with for 2 years and this, that, and the other. She was better than every boy on my team, but she wouldn't play. But she's super creative, but, she gets that J from my mom. I'm more rational, this kind of speed, but creative, the drawing, the design, the making clothes, the different things she's wanted to do. And now that she's 15, it's all coming into place. I mean, she's taking singing lessons. Although she's been doing that for years, she still hasn't sung for me, and she won't. She also plays the bass guitar, because now she has this thing. She says, I want to be famous. I want to be a celebrity. I want to be this. And I'm like, okay, I want to be whatever you want to do. I said, but you know what? Let's talk about this famous stuff, because you can be a famous murderer. You can be a famous this and famous drug dealer. Let's talk about this a little bit more. And then I'm like, you can also be behind the scenes where, you could be, you can walk down the street and nobody knows who you are, but you could also be in everything out there. And it's just, I watched her. We just had her 10th year this past weekend, and it was her mom has to be the most creative person in the world. I mean, next to, and her daughter's coming up, but people were walking in like, are you freaking kidding me? It was about 500 people came out, right? And they're just like, people are like, look at the decorations, look at this, look at that. I mean, I never would have even thought. I remember my sister leaning over to me. She said, okay, I see the photo booth, but this is like a carnival. Like, there was elephant ears there was cotton candy, there was popcorn, there was, ice cream sundaes, there was characters being drawn, there was a lady on stilts, there was, there was 2 DJs and a band. I'm like, is this that MTV thing? Is MTV filming it? I mean, it's, and all our friends, you should see, people are just like, are you freaking kidding me? This is the most awesomest party I've ever been to. It was like, I was impressed. But, and I was talking to a couple of people who were helping her as far, they were other event planners, and they were saying, I'm like, did you have any input? And I know her mom. I've been knowing her mom since she started in that business. And she's like, no, everything in here, every detail that's here, she thought it well out. And my daughter is the same exact way. But what reason why I went there was because that was something that from early on, I think it was something that I read. It talked about, it was a book I read. I think it was, I know it was the book. It was an old book. It's been many years old. And it was like everything I learned in kindergarten. And it talked about how kids lose their creativities, and it's not their fault, it's our fault. Because we tell them what they can't do, can and can't do. And, so by the 4th grade or the 3rd grade, they already are like reluctant to try new things or this, that, and the other because we keep telling them no. For whatever our experiences are. And I have never, that was something that I talked to her about, and I knew that she wasn't going to have much of a problem with, but I know that me was sort of like you. I did so many things as a kid, and I was good at so many different things. I was making money. I had my own money to buy my own clothes and my own shoes and things that I wanted. I had to go to my parents when I was 10, 11 years old. I mean, I was like, hey, if I want to go to the store, get some candy, some chips, and this, that, and the other, I didn't have to ask them. I had money in my pocket. Although with my grandfather, I would use his money and keep mine in my pocket, and he was like, wait. I started a business. I was selling candy bars in high school. And I was making a mint, and he was like, and he bought the candy bars. So he basically funded the business, right? And he said, hey, am I ever going to get a return on this investment? Because he would never get his money back that he put in to buy the candy bar from the start. So I had to cake and eat it too. I'm like, hey, man, that's how this business works. But but you know what? My thing was, and I never got a chance to do this because he obviously passed away, but I always said, hey, you know what? My goal was to become the first millionaire in our family, for certain things, because I wanted to be able to say, hey, you know what, homeboy? Let's just do whatever you want to do, and because you did everything for me. You did so many different things, and that was the payback. So every now and then, like even Saturday, I wore his watch. I keep his, it's not very many things that I got, but I wore his watch. And people were walking up to me. My grandpa used to teach. He was military vet for like 30-something years, but he also taught RTC in the local high school, which is funny because my daughter's mom and her parents are one. My mom's Mexican, her dad's Puerto Rican, but so a lot of her family was walking up to me like, hey, how's your grandfather doing? They didn't have, we've been apart for so many years, so they didn't really know, but they were like, man, I had him in high school. He was, he was unbelievable. He made a great impact. He did this and did that. I was like, it's funny you say that because this is his watch, and I wore this specifically because, I try to, on most special occasions I do, because it's just that, and I'm not even a watch person. I never put on jewelry. I just hate the feeling of it. But I remember when he bought that watch. I was there. He was like, oh, I'm getting this Boulevard. It's going to be gold and this, that, and the other. I'm like, all right. But anyway, she's the same way. And so I think that she'll try to be the same exact, because with me, people look at me and they go, he ain't afraid of nothing. He'll just do. It used to be a point before my daughter was born, I would just get in the car and I would drive, and I knew people everywhere. I was like, hey, I'm coming down for 2 weeks. It may be 6 months, a year. But it was just something that my parents never really said, you have to do this. And then I don't know, maybe it's the Scorpio in me or whatever, but even if you tell me I can't do something, that was my thing to prove you wrong. Even with Black Folk Hotspots, you don't know how many people told me that's stupid. It's black businesses. You know how black businesses are. This, that. I said, listen, let me explain something to you. I got a system. I said, you know what? And I learned my system through corporate America. I learned from being in there. I've worked with some very large companies that didn't charge out of the yin. I'm talking about $1 billion companies that, people were like, how are you guys making a profit? I've had people e-blast companies and people say, hey, you do all this, but you're not charging $60, $70, $80, $100 a month or for these people. I'm like, no. I said, and I guess in a nutshell, I never really want to tell them, but I'm like, it's all about numbers. If you know mathematics, if I had a book right now, and I read a story of a high school girl that was doing these sci-fi books, and she was selling for 99 cents the ebooks on Amazon, and she was a millionaire. She had made over $1 million selling these books. She was like 16 freaking years old. She had like 15 or 16 different, ebooks, the series, and she never charged over 99 cents. And we know that Amazon, 99 cents, they take 7, they give you 30. So it's like, damn, how many of these books is she freaking selling? I mean, we do the math. But it's to me, it was always, like Google, for instance. There's very few people that pay Google anything.
I don't pay Google anything, and I have all kinds of stuff through Google. I love Google. I actually have taken it upon myself to make sure that most of what I use is related to Google in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Something that new that we're doing at Superwoman Productions and Publishing. I started doing business consulting. I started off rather slow, but what I'm trying to do is encourage African American businesses in particular to improve their online presence outside of using Facebook and or Twitter, because there's so many black businesses in the United States. And when I was writing Breaking Through the Black Ceiling, I discovered that there's this statistic that out of all the businesses owned by African Americans, a ridiculous 50-some-odd% don't have a website and don't have an online presence outside of Facebook. So I even have a couple of chapters in the book talking about that specifically, but that encouraged me to want to go through the process of teaching businesses how to improve their online presence and how to utilize Google to help do that, as opposed to relying on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Pinterest, because the fraction of people who really blow up on that is a lot smaller than people think. Everybody thinks I'm going to get on Facebook, I'll be an overnight success. Well, you're one of a billion some odd people just in the United States using Facebook. And you're not necessarily going to blow up in the way that you assume that you might. I have this theory that overnight success really takes about 10 years. So unless you're going to do things differently and think outside the box and learn to identify products and services that are available out here that are free, that can help you build your business, you're going to be one of these people hoping and wishing and praying and paying a lot of money to Facebook to try to get your business out there. So Google is, I love Google. I Google everything. I Google people, I Google places, food. If it can't be Googled, I'm Googling it. I don't take a meeting with anyone without Googling them first.
Exactly, and what's funny about that is, and that's the one thing that I don't Google the people before, because I don't want to see something that I don't need to see, because I'm like, no, I don't need to see that, because I'm like, But I 100% agree with you, and that's how Black Folk Hotspots got started, actually. I've been in online marketing since 98, 99. Fell in love with the computer like 94, 95. I kept going, you can make a lot of money with this thing, but I had no clue. And my biggest thing was, when I first stumbled across the internet, and I'm going to tell you, my pretty much first uses was, this is how I age check people. I was like, it was AOL, and AOL had this thing called Love at AOL, and it was a dating site that AOL that was free. And, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll put a little profile out there. I'm going to see how this works and this, that, and the other. I'm like, wait a minute here. I'm like, you can meet women online and you don't, wait, what? I was like, I was calling all my buddies. I'm like, dude, I just found the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm like, dude, this is the greatest thing, and and as you start to go and you're like, wait a minute, because my entrepreneurial stuff, and that was like you, and this is what I want to say earlier, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. You know, I knew that I could do so many different things, but I'm like, I had to find something I can create that passion in because I've done so many different things and I've made money, and then I'll get bored. I'll get bored and go, you know what? I made money. I did that. It's like a checklist. Yep, you did that. And people are like, dude, you just quit? You know, I did the same thing with companies I worked for. You know, and people to this day, my grandmother, number one, she'd be like, Brian, you do know that you have to, you know, you're gonna have to retire. What about your pension? I said, look, they don't have pensions no more. And the pensions that we do have, because I try not to try to explain it to her in technical terms because I know she's not gonna get it, you know. And so I'll be like, look, you can take your pensions with you when you go. You know, there's this thing called 401k, but you know, I would give companies, you know, 2 years. I'm like, hey, you know what? You're on probation for 2 years. You think you put me on probation for 90 days? No, you're on probation because I'm the asset. You can't get this done unless I do it, right? Or you wouldn't hire me. And that was the.
I actually have a meeting for like 10 minutes. I want to offer something to everyone at Black Coat Hot. The book bag is 2010, so it's kind of run its course, but I am in the process of writing the second one. But Breaking Through the Black Ceiling is available now. And anyone who is interested, you can visit my website or you can go to Amazon and visit my author's page and check it out. Make sure and tell me what you think. I like feedback. I like people to give me feedback and tell me what they think. Did what they work for you or not? And then I'm going to take those testimonials and have a speaking engagement coming up in those testimonials for that speaking engagement. So anyone who is interested in participating, grab a copy of the book, either an ebook or paperback. Tell me your reviews. You can send it to me by email. You can send it off to me by Facebook, and let me know what they work, didn't work for you or not. And if either way, why do you think it worked or why do you think it didn't? And the other thing I want to offer is the event that I'm having at the school. And you can do that by either sponsoring the event or providing items for the VIP gift bag. I can't give a lot of details about the event right now, but it's my birthday / entertainment review. And it's going to be a huge event in Metro Detroit. But people are being invited from every major metropolitan city where I have any connection with the United States. And there are women who are in business have very high-ranking positions at large corporations. So it gives you the opportunity to get in front of people that they may not have had the opportunity to do before. And it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. It's going to be very inexpensive. And anyone who may even want to come to Detroit for that particular weekend, you're going to have a great time if you decide that you want to spend the time in person.
What's the name of the book? Is it Breaking Through the Black Ceiling? Ceiling?
That is correct. Breaking Through the Black Ceiling.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, perfect. Okay, got it. And then here, real quick, and I'm tell you, I like to go through this with everyone. I like to kind of give them a heads up on certain things with Black Folk Hotspots. I know you have a profile, and anybody who's watching this, you can go over there. She has links. You can find her Black Folk Hotspots. But those events, those things, they need to be posted so we can get them out and get them to the rotation. I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And also the book covers, those things work. And what we do is we put them into rotation as well. But this has been by far one of the greatest deals. And I'm gonna tell you, I love what I do. And anybody will tell you this is the longest I've ever done anything. Since 2008, I'd have been quitting out. Look, I made $60,000 on eBay in profit in 2001. And people are like, dude, you quit? You stopped it? You just quit? I'm like, yeah, I was bored. I was like, it's the most boring money I've ever made in my life. It's just sitting there in front of a computer, like, but here's what was valuable. here's what I didn't have, but I know that's valuable now. All I needed was a coach. I needed a mentor. I needed somebody to say, Ryan, get up from the computer. Go do something. Go walk. Go play golf. Go play baseball. Go do something. For me, I was just hitting F5 and refresh because I love to see those numbers keep rolling in. And, and I'm like, if I'd have done that, I probably, Black Folk Hotspots probably would have never been created. But, but working all those different jobs, like you, or different experiences, I've learned so much. And that's what I try to tell Black business owners when I'm consulting with them. I'm telling them, look, you've already learned the basics. Mark Cuban said the same thing, and I know you got to roll, but Mark Cuban said, listen, you don't have to go to college. You don't have to get a degree. He said, go work for the company that does something similar to what you want to do, and this, that, and the other, and let them pay you to learn to create your own business.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
He said, they're gonna pay you X amount of thousands of dollars to learn. But anyway, thank you, Angela. It's been a pleasure. Much success to you. Keep going. And just keep rock and roll. Keep doing what you do. I see. Get you one of those, Detroit versus everybody shirts. That was. God, I was so mad when I saw that shirt. I was like, that's the greatest thing ever. For sure. I was like, man. But anyway, I appreciate it. I know you got to roll. Thanks, guys, for watching. You can just go ahead and click out and just go finish up. And, this will be available on YouTube, so you can come back and check. So thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You got it. Thank you, Angela. Appreciate it. But that's business. That's Support Black Business episode 40, and that's it. It's in the books, right? And this is what we talk about when we talk to these Black business owners about different things. You know what? If you're thinking about starting a business, these are people that you need to contact. These are people that you need to connect with. These are people that you can ask questions to. And these are people that I don't think that really, if you ask questions to, they're going to charge you for basic questions. Yes, we want new clients and this, that, and the other. You can come to me. You can go to people like Angela. She has networks, and that's what it is. It's about creating networks. Even though she has her own thing, she joined up with 6 brown chicks. You know what I mean? That's, she can look at it like, oh, I got my own thing. Why would I join your thing? Even though she has her own thing, she's on Black Folk Hotspots. But we got to help. She also said you can't rely on Facebook and Twitter just for your sole business. You just can't. But anyway, that was a great interview. Thumbs up it if you thought it was. I mean, we kind of did it. We had some technical difficulties, so we had to do it by phone instead of just hearing her voice, through speakers and this, that, and the other. So if the things are a little bit off, it's a reason for that. But we'll circle back and we'll do a revision, this, that, and the other. But if you thumbs up it and things like that, that lets us know that you watched them, and lets you know that you like it, and we'll bring these people back because. For updates on their business and where they're going, but you saw it from author to, now she's doing plays and directors and movies and this and the other. So this is what happens. You start with one thing and then your business leads you in certain directions. But as I said, if you're a Black business owner, you're watching this, go to blackfolkhotspots.com, create your profile. It's free, right? Like I said, like I tell people, we're a freemium version, so like Google. If you want us to do more for you, then we can. If you got events and things like that you want us to share and keep into our rotation, obviously that means you're putting us to work. So that means that's something we're going to do. But for you to create a profile, we're going to share it with our network, right? And, then it'll be there because Black Folk Hotspots is getting, I don't know what it is today, but let's look. I always like to look and see what we're doing today, but let's look and just see real quick where Black Folk Hotspots is sitting in the mix as far as traffic and what we're looking like. Because a lot of times people don't know. They say, oh, we get a lot of traffic. That's no further than the truth. But looks like we've done pretty good. We've jumped up a little bit. We were ranked, over the last couple of weeks, we jumped up about 40,000 slots as far as in traffic. When you're dealing with, come on, act right. There we go. I use Alexa, which, as you know, Alexa is one of those sites that it's sort of like Consumer Reports for traffic for for black business owners. I mean, for websites, it measures the traffic. So, like I said, so we're up about 35,000 sites over, over the last time. I think it's, I don't know if it's daily or whatever. But, it says over 3 months or whatever. But, okay, that's cool. So we jumped over the last 3 months about 35,000 sites. So we're ranked 500 in the top 503,000 websites in the world out of 300, million plus. 88,000 in the United States. We dropped our page views. Here's the crazy part. Our bounce rate is 1380. What that means is bounce rate. That means only 13% or 14% are are clicking on one page and leaving. Or if you take that and look at another level, which I always try to tell people, look at the positive instead of the negative. That means 86% of the people, 86% of the people who come to our, to bfhsnetwork.com are just looking at one page. So the average page views right now per visitor is 51, and they're spending 53 minutes on, on the site. So the average page views 51. That means they're spending over a minute per site, right? That's what they're getting. 12% of our traffic comes from Google, 12% comes from Facebook, which makes sense because, we're putting this stuff into the social media side of things. That's what we do. So that's who we are. What we're gonna do for your business. We get the traffic. Obviously, there's not very many other sites that do sort of the things that we do that work with black business owners that get that amount of traffic that are ranked higher than us. And if they are, you should be there. If you're not, if you have a website and you're not at 503 and lower or higher, whichever, if you're ranked 504,000, that means you need to have a program on Black Folk Hospital. Let us help you get more traffic. Let us expose you to more people. The other thing is, here's the website is pretty simple. We ask a couple questions, right? We want, we just want some links and stuff like that. We want you to post your website link. So when Google crawl our site, they crawl your site. Your Facebook page, your Twitter page. We also ask, LinkedIn, YouTube, got all that. You're allowed to add pictures. You're also able to put videos and events and this, that, and the other. And then this is what helps us keep our costs down, right? This right here, these shirts, right? We got hoodies, we got long sleeves, we got t-shirts, and the t-shirts are $17 right now. And we got women's shirts, and we got some little things, that they're statement tees as well. So if you're checking this out, create a profile, like this video, just thumbs up it, and share with your network as well. And then create a profile for your business so that we can interview you tomorrow. All right. Talk to you guys soon. I really appreciate you. I really do. I really appreciate you coming out. I really appreciate you stopping by. I really appreciate you listening, whether you listen to it today or tomorrow. But please, blackfolkhotspots.com. If you're a black business owner or professional, you sell cars, insurance, investments, mortgages, whatever it may be, create that profile so that we can share. If you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, because more people need to know about you, right? And so that we can help you get more clients, get more customers, and more butts in the seats to your events. Peace. Black